Hey guys, welcome back. This is your host Phil from underKG.com, and today we're going to take a look at Apple iPhone 8. As you're all aware, iPhone 8 isn't exactly a significant upgrade from the iPhone 7. They should be the iPhone 7s, but they named it iPhone 8 because there's an iPhone 10. Anyway, let's start with those bezel top, bottom, left, and right. There are plenty of them, and I'm pretty sure that you're not a fan of them. Neither am I, but at least it looks better on the rear than the predecessors without that weird antenna lines, because now they replaced the material to glass instead of the unibody metal. As always, this is IP67 water and dust resistant. This is not the top level IP68, but it still should be enough for everybody water hazards like the rain or your bathtub or, other accidents. Aside from all these features on the spec sheet, perhaps the most noticeable feature of the iPhone 8 is a smaller profile. Now, that smaller profile is achieved through the smaller display of 4.7 inches. The resolution isn't too high, but it's okay, it's not a strain to your eyes. And to be honest, I love this display. It's an IPS panel unlike the AMOLED on the iPhone 10 or the other competitors, and it's bright, accurate in color, and easy on eyes thanks to the True Tone technology. So turn that off and it's going to show the standard color temperature. And as soon as you turn it on, it's going to adjust itself to the surrounding color temperature so it looks natural to your eyes. And that isn't the only upgraded component. The other one is the camera. Now it's got an f1.8 camera. The previous iPhone camera like 6, 6S, and 7 weren't exactly the best. This one isn't the best either. I believe that Galaxy S8s and the Note 8s take better photos, but this still is a pretty decent camera, especially under a low lighting condition. Overall photo quality is simply better. They got rich detail and exceptional tones. Again, low lighting photos aren't the best, but they're finally acceptable. If there was something that I'm disappointed at, that would be the lack of portrait mode. Dual camera, hence the portrait mode, was one of my favorite features on the larger iPhone, the iPhone 8 Plus. And I know the Apple's reasoning behind it, there are less space and it's costly, but I would have definitely appreciated it. Don't be too disappointed though, the 240 frames per second of slow-mo is still here, and that 4K 60 frames per second of insane video capability is also present in the smaller iPhone. Something that you should indeed be disappointed at probably is that front-facing camera. It's got a 7 megapixels of f2.2 camera, which isn't the brightest nor is it the best in quality. The HDR processing when there is a backlight present or when there are numbers of different objects with a different brightness isn't the best, and autofocus on the front-facing camera would have definitely been a great idea. Something that you should be extremely happy with is the pair of speakers, one on the bottom and one on top. The earpiece that works as a loudspeaker. Those stereo speakers are definitely one of the best speakers I've ever tried on a mobile phone. Apple claims 25% boost on the speaker volume compared to the predecessor, and I totally buy it. It doesn't have the best spatial effect, it doesn't feel the most stereo-ish speaker in the world, but it's got a tight bass, solid treble, and somewhat balanced midtone. I'm still not a fan of headphone jack removal. Yes, you can use the AirPods, but you also can on the devices with the headphone jack, so that really isn't the story here. Now, perhaps the most important upgrade over here is the chipset. It's got an Apple A11 Bionic with the Neural Engine, and on benchmark, it crushes all of the Android available on the market right now. Does it work as well as it does on the benchmark? Partially, yes. It shows incredible performance in the hardcore tasks like the AR-enabled apps or a complex 3D gaming, but in the same time, switching between big and little cluster within that chipset isn't the smoothest. When I wake the phone up, it sometimes stutters around. It's not too smooth. I'm pretty sure that this is a bug that they're gonna crush on the later release, but for now, there is a little cluster issues. Now, let's talk about that iOS. The iOS 11 isn't exactly the groundbreaking update on the iPhone, it is on the iPad, but there still are my favorite parts like the control center over here, which you can finally customize. It's not as flexible as I wished it to be, but still you get to have some level of options, and you can use it with 3D Touch, which gives you some useful options like night shift and True Tone toggle, or you can 3D Touch this to expand the menu further, although I'm not a fan of new Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity options, and you can also 3D Touch this for the flashlight level, 3D Touch that to copy last results, or 3D Touch this to jump right into selfie. Truth be told, I'm not the biggest iOS fan in the world, especially on a phone, but this still is a very well-built and stable operating system, albeit the increasing numbers of the bugs. But if you have already invested some of your fortune in the App Store, then I guess you don't really have a choice. And now, last and the most important part to talk about is that battery. Physically speaking, the battery capacity has shrunk, but realistically speaking, the screen on time has actually increased. Now it lasts up to from 6 hours to 6.5 hours, which is more than impressive numbers to see on a phone this small. I'm always on the LTE network, never on Wi-Fi and hardcore web surfer, and I was able to use it for the full day. So if you are more of a lighter user, more on the Wi-Fi network, then you should be able to use it for a day and a half. Now, topping that battery back up is the painful part. It takes a long 2.5 hours to charge that with the bundle 5-watt charger. Yes, you heard that right. This phone, this $699 phone, comes with a 5V 1A charger. Apple did include the fast charging option that's going to top up 50% of the battery within 30 minutes, but that's going to cost you another $89-ish. You can save a bit if you opt in for a standard USB PD charger, but you still have to get the USB Type-C to Lightning cable, the authentic cable from the Apple Store. Oh, and yes, it does support wireless charging thanks to the glass back, which now can let the wireless power go through that. And all of them is done through the Qi standard, which is your Samsung charger, LG charger, and Motorola chargers. And unfortunately, this also works only in 5 watts, at least till now. They are planning to release an update that's going to boost the charging power up to 7.5 watts, but for now, it's going to take as long as that bundle 5-watt charger to wireless charge this phone. And of course, Apple has their own way. It's called the AirPower. It's going to allow up to 3 devices to be charged at once, and that's going to come in next year. And I think I covered most of the important things. Now, time for the verdict. The iPhone 8 is an amazing phone. It's got a snappy performance, solid camera, incredible battery life, and amazing display. It's the one in that package. In short, this is one of the best phones that Apple has ever built, and one of the best phones that you can actually get in the market right now, especially if you're opting for a smaller one. To wrap this video up, I have to answer some of your questions. Is it worth it to upgrade from iPhone 6 or 6S to 8? Yes, definitely, especially now that the iPhone 6 is getting close to the end of its upgrade cycle. Now, more important question, should you upgrade from the iPhone 7? I usually say no to the generation right behind the latest one, but perhaps yes for the iPhone 8 because the camera got such a huge update. The camera is a whole lot better, and especially with that True Tone display, I think maybe this time around, maybe it's worth it. Because I think display and camera is one of the very important things on your phone because they're the things that you actually see and use every day. So that is my answer. iPhone 6, 6S, 7. I think you all could, should upgrade. iPhone 8 is very, very well built. I actually like this phone. If I was an iOS person, I could have used it as my daily driver. It could have been one of my options. Anyway, that was my quick look on the iPhone 8. Thank you always for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment. You can always meet us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And as always, we'll see you guys later. Ciao.